Good morning. Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist of Newburyport, Massachusetts. My name is Nancy Crochere, and I'm a member of this beloved faith community. I am also a member of the Welcoming Committee, which is hosting the service today. I mention this to underscore the fact that anyone, whether or not you identify as LGBTQ+, is invited to join this group to explore allyship and work toward making our congregation more welcoming. All of us at FRS come together as a church community, online and in person, committed to love, peace, and justice. Here, we hold up as core values authentic connection, courageous action, love, spirituality, and wonder. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is to come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, and transform our world. If you're visiting today or joining us for the first time, welcome. We're delighted that you're here. If you're online and would like to access this morning's order of service, please click on the link just below the live stream. I'd like to draw your attention to the many events and activities going on here that are listed in your order of service. In particular, two things. First, at the back of the sanctuary, where you'll notice the red sign, we're collecting gifts for our annual Joy of Giving program. This is the event that we do annually where the kids at Kelleher Gardens get to shop for free for their parents and caregivers for the holidays. We have only 1 week left to collect gifts, and we are sadly way behind in donations this year. So if you can possibly drop anything off at the church in the coming week, a candle, a thing of lotion, a scarf, some gloves, anything that you can donate, or contact me if you're having any issues getting things here, we would be most grateful. This is something that the kids at Kelleher Gardens look forward to literally all year. Second, we invite your participation in an event on the evening of Friday, December 9th, during the second of three of the city's invitation nights. The FRS will be hosting historic church tours and our first annual cookie walk, Cookies for Peace. This year, half the funds raised through the sale of cookies will benefit the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee Emergency Response Fund in support of the people who have fled war in Ukraine. The more cookies for sale, the better, so please consider volunteering to bake. There will be a table at coffee hour and a link in the steeple and FRS website for people to sign up. And of course, we invite you to attend the event that night. That's again, December 9th.
I have one special announcement. Good morning, everybody. You may have read in the steeple or heard from Reverend Rebecca a couple of weeks ago that we are in the process of bringing a large TV monitor to the sanctuary, a very exciting new technological feature. We are so thrilled to be debuting the TV next Sunday, December 4th, for our special congregational meeting. So this is your reminder that next week after the service, there is the special congregational meeting. So if you are a member, please make sure to RSVP and please attend. This TV monitor will allow participants who are online, our online members, to be both seen and heard by our in-person congregation, which will help bring them into community with us even more than we already are able to do. We're also exploring other ways that this might enhance particular services or be able to be used outside of service for other special events. And if you have an idea, you could come and tell me. The TV is not a permanent fixture, in case that is something that you are thinking about as I'm talking, so please know that it's something that we can install and remove, so that actually gives us way more possibilities for what could be useful for this new technology. If you have questions, you can always come and meet me and ask after the service. Thank you. It is good to be together.
Good morning. Our call to worship this morning are words of Reverend Sharon Wiley. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you. Every part of you beautiful just the way you are. Here, you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding. No exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or to the children or to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful. Every part of you beautiful, just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your limbs, your face, all beautiful, just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together.
Please join in saying our chalice lighting words as Maureen and Tom light the chalice. The words can be found in the online order of service. Today, our special chalice lighting words come from Eric Walker Winstrom. Here today, in this place with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way.
We are entering the time of year where the earth grows colder, the animals begin to hibernate, and the days become continually shorter. This morning marks the beginning of the season of Advent. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, recognizing the transforming power of God in the world and looking forward toward the birth of Jesus' spiritual light. And Christianity is not alone in celebrating light at this time of year. Hanukkah, solstice, and Kwanzaa all involve candles, fire, and lights as part of their celebrations. Each week until Christmas, we will light a new candle on the Advent wreath, a circle of evergreens, along with each of the preceding candles. The flame of each new candle reminds us that something is happening now, but something more is still to come. The light of Advent grows brighter and brighter, guiding us toward personal peace, shared joy, and more love. Next week, we will also light the menorah for Hanukkah, which begins this evening. This morning, we light the first candle. We light this candle as a symbol of hope and expectation. May we dare to open the dark places in our lives and memories to the healing light of community. With the creative power of hope, we express our longing for peace and prepare our hearts to be transformed. Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places on earth we lift up and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. These 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, I will invite you to respond saying, "Peace, Sol, Shalom." Our first candle is lit for Colorado Springs, Colorado, where 5 people were killed and 17 wounded last weekend in an act of gun violence at Club Q, a club and longtime safe haven for LGBTQ+ people in an otherwise conservative community. We grieve for the victims and their friends and families while acknowledging that this is one of untold numbers of violent and prejudicial acts against the LGBTQ+ community, including hateful rhetoric and a wave of anti-LGBTQ bills proposed and passed in dozens of states. May our country learn to defy hate and side with love. To this we respond, peace, Sol, Shalom. Our second candle is lit for Newburyport and other towns and cities across the country whose school boards and public libraries are facing coordinated and escalating efforts to ban books, censor lessons and information on American history and race, and to eliminate classroom discussions of LGBTQ+ people and families. May those who side with love in our communities reject such efforts and speak up for truth. To this we respond, peace, Sol, Shalom. Please rise now in body or in spirit and join together in our first hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. You can find the words and music in the hymn document linked below the live stream. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. please remain standing as we join our voices in our affirmation of faith, followed by the doxology. The words can be found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. From all that dwell below the skies, let faith adorn with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue. You may be seated.
I would now like to invite all the children and youth forward for the time of all ages. I have a story for you guys. This is called They, She, He, easy as ABC. Out on the dance floor, we love to sing they. They is a way to let everyone be. No one left out and everyone free. Then we're friends, we sing they, she, he, z, making it easy as A, B, C, D. Let's dance. Airy loves to arabesque. They hold their pose with ease. Brody is a break dancer. Brody loves to freeze. Corey leaps high like a cat. She springs and leaps and bounds. Diego drums and dances. Tree has all the sounds. Have you guys ever heard tree as a pronoun before? It's pretty cool. Ebony flies everywhere. They spread their arms like wings. Fawn is free as a flower. Fawn can bring the spring. Gaia's going fast and strong. She's dancing on the go. Harvey's heart beats happily. Hip-hop makes her flow. Indigo's into insects. Z loves the buzzing vibe. Jorge jams to jazzy tunes. He or they can jive. Kelly can kick super high. His heart lives in the sky. Lourdes sings of lofty heights. Their songs let them fly. Marley is a star mermaid. He or she flows with the sea. Nathan's a nesting bird. He just wants to be. Ocean's arms are open wide. Tree swings and sways about. Paul pretends to be a plant. Paul grows up and out. Quetzal is so quiet. He rests just like a queen. Rene is into rainbows. He creates the scene. Sky is a star so bright. All the pronouns are right. Tai is a tiger in the night. He claims his own might. Yuna is a unicorn. They prance to their own sound. Viola is a volcano. Her power is in her ground. Wren whistles when she dances. She knows just what to do. Xander exaggerates moves. They're extremely cool. Yoli yells yes joyously. Their voice becomes the song. Zahara zooms in and out. Z knows that Z belongs. Now's your chance. We need your moves. Join the dance. There's always room. I would now like to invite the children downstairs to Young Church, and all the adults are going to sing us out.
This is the time in our service when the offering will be gratefully received. The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church both in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering not designated as a pledge goes to a local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. The November shared collection will support Essex County Habitat for Humanity, which brings people together to build affordable homes, strengthen families, and foster hope. Habitat families buy their homes after they provide between 240 and 360 hours of sweat equity to build their own and other families' homes. Not surprisingly, homelessness is one of the top issues for LGBTQ plus youth and elders. Lifetime poverty is higher among LGBTQ plus people for many reasons, including family expulsion or estrangement and discrimination in housing. Please give so one day everyone will have a decent place to live. In order to give online, please use the link in your order of service or below the live stream. You can also make a contribution by text. And of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received.
This is the time in our service where we lift up the joys and sorrows of our beloved faith community. Tom Himmel, our pastoral care associate, will light the candles as I read what has been shared with us in advance of today's service. If you would like to share a joy or sorrow to be read in the service, you can always send an email to betweenus@frsuu.org or write in the journal at the back in the sanctuary. Our first candle is for Ken Crutch and family. Ken shares joyful and concerning news. Ken and his wife Liz welcomed Lucian, their fourth grandchild, to the world on November 16th. Lucian was born at Anna Jake's at 7:30 a.m. and weighed just over 9 pounds. Ken and Liz have also learned that Liz has pancreatic cancer. The doctors are going to put together a team at the Cancer Center at Anna Jake's where they are sure they will receive the best of care. Minnie Flanagan is thrilled to share news, and this is another candle for you, Tom. Minnie Flanagan is thrilled to share news of the latest additions to her family, bringing her son Brendan and his extraordinary partner Chrissy's clan to a whopping 7 children. Chrissy gave birth to twins Daniel Frederick and Marguerite Maggie May Flanagan early on November 17th in Rhinebeck, New York. They are all healthy, happy, hungry, and sleepy. Life never ceases to amaze. We light a candle of sorrow for the loss of Lou Masiello. Lou, a resident of Salisbury, passed away suddenly this past Wednesday. Although not a member of the FRS, Lou was a friend to several of our congregation, including through the News and Views discussion group. He was very active in community affairs. More importantly, he was a true gentleman, always positive, thoughtful, and caring, with a keen interest in history, politics, and his community. As one friend said, he was the guy you want to sit next to. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to his wife Diane and to his beloved children and grandchildren. We light one final candle for all the sorrows and all the joys that, although unnamed, are just as important and held in our hearts. And now I invite you into the spirit of prayer. Gracious Spirit, we thank you for this day, for this moment. May we live today in a way that honors you, that honors our ancestors, and that honors all those who come after us. Remind us to see your presence in all whom we encounter today, in our loved ones, as well as strangers. To meet all with open eyes and open ears, an open heart. Help us to walk tenderly on your earth, to honor silence, to find beauty even as we rage at injustice. Hold in your loving embrace all who struggle today, those who are grieving, who are ill, who are living in despair. Beloved one, to you we pray. Amen.
Good morning. I'd like to start off our reflections with 4 questions. What does it mean to be welcoming? How does it feel to be excluded? How does it feel to be included? How can we put what we know and believe into the practice and action of being a welcoming congregation? What is a welcoming congregation? As Unitarian Universalists, UUs, we recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person, our first principle. We value diversity, including diversity of sexuality and gender, and we seek to create inclusive religious communities that work for LGBTQ+ justice and equity. LGBTQ+ is an abbreviation in which the letters stand for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, while the plus captures everything on the non-heteronormative gender and sexuality spectrums not captured by the previous terms, such as asexual, intersex, two-spirit, among others. Welcoming congregations seek to engage in intentional LGBTQ+ affirming ministry, make sure LGBTQ+ people are full members of our faith communities, and create spaces and practices to honor every part of our LGBTQ+ identities, backgrounds, and experiences. In 1996, we, that is the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist of Newburyport, FRSUU, were among the early UU congregations to participate in the denomination's Welcoming Congregations program. As you may have read recently in the steeple, after a year of work by the newly reinvigorated Welcoming Committee led by Christine Doherty, and with the full collaboration of FRS staff, we fulfilled all the requirements and were renewed as a welcoming congregation. Since welcoming renewal is now designated as an annual commitment, again this year, we will be engaging in the 5 practices of welcoming renewal, including worship, days of observance, educational programming, and supporting LGBTQ+ communities with our gifts and resources. This morning's service, with its theme of allyship, is part of fulfilling this year's annual commitment. In the spirit of the theme of allyship, I want to share with you 2 memories from my lived experiences, one of feeling excluded and one of feeling welcomed. Exclusion. As Robert Frost famously wrote, home is the place where, when you have to go there, they have to take you in. But growing up as a queer kid, many of us felt different. Even at home, even if we have a safe and loving family, as I was extremely lucky to have. As a teenager and young adult, as I began to realize more fully why I felt different, I became convinced that if my family learned this secret about me, I would no longer be welcome. Every year, around the time of Thanksgiving, I'm reminded of this haunting feeling of exclusion, reaching the level of personal crisis for me. The year was 1994, late autumn. Having graduated from college the previous May, I was working, paying rent on my first apartment, applying for graduate school, and dating someone that I really liked. Sadly, it was not my wife, Heather, who I'd have to wait 16 more years to meet here in Newburyport. All around me, it seemed my heterosexual peers were getting engaged and planning to spend the holidays with their families, perhaps even introducing their partner, fiancés, for the first time. I couldn't even think about Thanksgiving without feeling nauseated. I wanted to spend it with my family, and I wanted to introduce everyone to my special someone. However, my family did not know I was a lesbian. It felt like I didn't have a place in my own family, like I had to pretend to be someone that I was not. It made me wish I could change who I was, and it made me hate the part of myself that didn't fit in. I believed that I would only be welcome if I left that part of who I was at the door. This is just one of hundreds, probably thousands of examples I could have shared about feeling excluded because of how our society marginalizes LGBTQ plus people. And lest I give you the wrong impression, and in case my family watches this later, I did end up coming out to my mom that year, and I did go home for Thanksgiving with my girlfriend. My coming out was awkward, and things at Thanksgiving were tense, but my mom over the years has quietly put in the work to now fully embrace who I am, although we don't talk about it because we're those kinds of New Englanders who don't do feelings. Even though this story of exclusion has a happy ending, it is the case that to be LGBTQ plus is to be reminded over and over again how you don't fit in, how your difference is a problem for other people, even today, even in New England. To be LGBTQ plus is not only to be constantly wondering whether who you are will be a barrier for you for full inclusion in a given community, or whether the rights that you have today will be taken away tomorrow, but also to be constantly gauging whether it's even safe to be fully yourself in a given situation. Welcome. In contrast, when I think of inclusion and welcome, I always think of my first time here in this building. It was opening Sunday, September 2016, and I was seeking a community that was engaged in social justice work. I did not realize that I was also searching to mend a heart that had been broken by growing up LGBTQ+, including my previous experience with organized religion. I remember being alone, walking across the brick apron in front of this beautiful building and approaching the large front doors. I remember feeling concerned that I did not have a flower like everyone else seemed to have, but I was given one almost immediately, even though I didn't know what it was for yet. I remember getting an order of service from an usher and nervously blurting out how it was my first time attending and that my wife didn't come with me. And a person invited me to sit with him and his wife. He talked with me about an upcoming educational event that he was organizing and encouraged me to attend the coffee hour, which at the time was in Parish Hall after the service. The fact that I had mentioned my wife had not caused even a moment of hesitation on his or anyone's part, and I felt so welcomed and included as I listened to the sermon, sang along with the hymns, and placed my flower in the beautiful arch as part of the opening ritual. In the years since, not only has my wife Heather joined me in becoming members of FRS, but here we have experienced what it feels like to be welcomed and to be included, to be affirmed, and to be celebrated. I participate now in the Intergenerational Gender and Sexuality Alliance, as well as on the Welcoming Committee, to try to do my part to make sure that others can experience the same feeling of inclusion that I have felt here, and to collaborate with others to further our congregation's understanding of LGBTQ+ identities, experiences, and communities, and to develop and deepen our practices as a welcoming congregation.
Hi, everybody. I thought I was an ally. Growing up, I attended GSA meetings in high school. I had friends who identified as either lesbian, gay, or bi, or as part of a very accepting theater group. I went to a girls' college and had trans friends, as well as a large group of lesbian friends. When I got married, my husband's college roommate, who I adore, married us and introduced us to his new boyfriend. They later married. My sister-in-law is married to her amazing wife, and I felt so lucky to be at their wedding. My kids knew that marriage was not just between a man and a woman from a young age, and schooled their second grade class on it when the topic came up, and appeared to find marriage as between a man and a woman. My kids knew what it meant to love someone, regardless of their gender or sex. They knew it from a young age that as long as the person treats you well and you love each other, it's good. Then, during the first summer of the pandemic, Fee asked me to take a walk with them. I've always known that when my kids approach me for a long walk or to go for a car ride, it means they want to talk. Unsure what was on their mind, but being that it was the early part of the pandemic and getting out of the house was very needed, I agreed. After a lot of idle chit-chat and catching up on the gossip, Fee brought the topic around to what they were thinking about. He let me know they're pretty sure that they were non-binary. This I didn't know much about. We walked more and talked and talked and talked. He taught me a lot, and when we got home, I did a lot more research. This is when I learned what true allyship is. It's standing up for your child and their needs. It's reading and researching. It's being there when the world is too hard. As Fee's gotten older, it's learning to let go and trust that the world we've created around us will protect him and make sure they know that I am a safe place. It's uncomfortable and having hard discussions. Allyship is taking care of those you love and trying to support them. Prior to the summer of 2020, I thought I was an ally. Now, I know I'm still learning how to be the best ally I can for Fee and for everyone else on the LGBTQ+ spectrum.
I started being an ally to the transgender community when my son Elliot came out as trans over 5 years ago. He was fortunate to have received support from all the family and friends. When I walked into this church 3 years ago, I had no idea how welcomed my son and I would be, and still are. I want to thank Reverend Rebecca, the coolest minister ever, for supporting Elliot and I in sharing our journeys. I want to thank this congregation for making Elliot feel welcomed and accepted. I received so much support after Reverend Rebecca shared during Joys and Sorrows that Elliot was having top surgery. Oh, I knew this would happen. Getting all verklempt. People I didn't know sent me cards, emails, talked to me in person, offering support and well wishes. This congregation showed their allyship, and I am proud to be a member of this church. Now, it's one thing to voice an intention and another to take action. I will continue to be an ally by sharing my journey to other churches, other temples, other venues, and offering support to the trans community. I will offer support to other parents, and if I know of a trans person who needs someone to walk them down the aisle, to go wedding shopping with them, I won't be cooking for them, but okay. Maybe they just need a shoulder to cry on. Maybe they need a hug. I will be their woman. I'm the support person.
She is. So before we start the spiritual practice, let's make sure that you all have the insert needed. I did have one handy, but I gave it away. So if you could hold it up, please. There it is, Aaron. And a pencil or a pen. And if you don't have either, would you please raise your hand, and I'm sure the ushers will be around. Keep your hand up until you receive the items. Julie? Oh, sorry. So the goal of our spiritual practice today is an activity which will connect our personal experience to the move to action. I'd like you to take a moment to reflect on a time in your life when you felt included. You want to go give that to those two people? Oh, there they go. Two hands raised. What happened? How did you feel? Did it change your life? Taking that experience, what step could you take to foster inclusion within your life, your community, or here at our church? I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me. So this isn't just a pretty face standing beside me. So during COVID, I felt isolated. I didn't come to church as I had come to church so faithfully prior. Once I stepped in the door, I related so strongly to what Holly was saying. I felt disconnected. I felt sad. I felt lost. Many of the friends that I knew were gone. And this one day, I started to cry during a gathering, a meeting. And I had heard that this woman, who goes by woman, was offering a pro bono hour of counseling. I probably shouldn't have said that because you'll have a lot of business. And so I was ushered over to her during this moment. And I said, I'd really like, to have an hour of counseling. And she said to me, I'm really sorry, I can't do that. There's a conflict of interest. And of course, the tears continued to flow. And she said, the problem is, I want to be your friend, not your counselor. And from that moment on, this moment of inclusion changed my life. Now I have a dear friend who lights my life every day, and We're not partners, by the way. Just to make that clear.
And she's a great cook.
Yes, see, that's what brought us together. So I take that experience now and look around and look for someone who needs me to go over and say hello, or, who are you? And it happened to me several times since then. Now, your experience, if you feel comfortable with moving your experience to, let me go back to my notes, I'm getting lost here. So if you would like to share that intention with us, our committee, to write down what you might do with your experience to move to action. We would love it for you to do that and write it on the little flyer. And we'd like to use that in some way, we're not sure yet how, to share with everyone. You may sign it or not, matters not. And we thank you. We look forward to your responses.
They don't have to put their name.
Oh, and you do not have to put your name. Okay, thanks. Okay. For those people online, I would believe you could probably email it to us, or you could drop it off in person. Thank you.
Please rise in body or spirit and join now in singing our closing hymn, 1028, Fire of Commitment.
please remain standing and join in saying our unison benediction as Maureen extinguishes the chalice. The words are in the order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. And I would like to invite you to hand your paper to anyone on the welcoming committee outside after the service. That's anyone who was in this service. Our blessing this morning comes as an invitation to be a blessing, by speaking love, to be a blessing by acting in love. Choose to bless the world with your very presence. Go in peace, and may peace be with you in the days ahead.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains, we gon' walk it out, and mountains. And I rise like the day. I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I rise up, I like the waves. I rise up, in spite of the ache. I rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence is it.